if you could go back and you wish you could tell yourself when you were pregnant, from in terms of, letters to Inayah, young girl now, things that you want, that you would kind of knew, or even just you knew but you wanted to believe in a little bit more, to do with your faith and your spirituality and things that would get you going, what would be the things that you tell her?
I think being kind to yourself is really important. And we believe that God has 99 names, and obviously way more than that, but 99 that are named in the Quran, and prophetic saying, and two of them are a Rahman and a Rahim, which means the most merciful and the most compassionate. And every single chapter in the Quran opens with those two names. And I always whenever I'm discussing this with my friends or my Muslim sister circle, we always talk about this, there's 99 other attributes. Some of them are a bit more intense. Some of them are talking about the judge or the reckoner or that kind of stuff. And some of them are a little bit more, well, scary is a bad word, but a little bit more on that side of vengeance and that kind of stuff. Or the punisher, etc. Whereas the most compassionate and the most merciful are the two that have been chosen by God in every single chapter of the Quran, every single one. And so I think that is a basis of how we should also approach not just God but ourselves, with compassion and kindness. And I think as a mom and as a pregnant person, it's very easy to quickly stop being kind to ourselves and quickly be critical of ourselves and quickly, and it's not just Islamically, anyway, I think a lot of moms feel that with the comparison or just in general, I'm not doing a good job, or this is so hard, I'm not cut out for this, all of this kind of stuff. And I think actually being kind, it sounds very airy-fairy, but I think practically speaking, it's very powerful to actually give ourselves some space, give ourselves pat ourselves some slack, if I can't do what I thought, if as a mum, and especially as a mum as a newborn, if I haven't achieved the 3 things that I want to get done today, that's okay. I've looked after a whole child. I've created breast milk that's 500 calories a day. I've done all of these things that I think I'm not doing anything. But actually I'm doing loads, and I think that's the main perspective shift I think I wish I'd had really early, because I've always felt I'm not doing anything all day, I'm just sitting and looking after this kid. But it's such a huge thing to actually be doing, not just spiritually, but actually physically. It's a huge task, it's a huge thing. The other thing I wish, and I did write this in my article, is I wish I had made a bit of a plan for when I was pregnant for the postpartum period, of just a YouTube playlist or something that would just be really low effort, but to get me through those difficult nights or difficult times, and affirmations, all of this stuff. I think that is maybe when we're feeling quite grounded spiritually or psychologically, they can feel I don't need this. But I think at that time, when you're quite fragile and you're quite vulnerable, I think you need some proper planned out crutches almost to be there for you. And I also I think reaching out to other mums is really important, because any mum that I reached out to throughout the reference, but it was amazing. It was just I was where was this knowledge when it's these people that you spend a lot of time with and you don't even know they have this wisdom, because you've never accessed them as a parent or a mother. But then when you do, you're whoa, you're so wise, and everything you're saying is so amazing. I think I was I had a lot of benefit from that.
Amazing. And also people whose children are a little bit older, it'll be interesting to catch up with you later as your daughter gets older, that thing is kind, because they say that your children, they go through this phase where they're a sponge and they take on everything that you do. So when you come home, and she my friend said to me, she was, I come home and I didn't do this and I didn't do that, but now she goes home and she goes, Mummy tried her best, because her child is picking that up. And so
exactly,
by being kind to yourself, you also teaching that to your children as well, which I thought, and so I was you can't be that hard on yourself, because there's someone else, then teach someone else to be hard on themselves.
It's so true. And there's a lot of studies, and I'll try and link you one, but there's a lot of studies about maternal mental health and daughter mental health, and how linked they are. And if there's depression in mums, oftentimes there's also depression in children. And obviously there's loads of factors at play there. But I do agree that a lot of that is the way that you see yourself. The child will often absorb that so quickly, and they're very, very perceptive children.
I mean, it's very simply the environment that you grow up in shapes your health. That just as a statement, it just comes down to that, right?